In today's video, we're going to make a cute critter card using stamps from My Favorite Things. Hi, I'm Stacy and welcome to my channel. I hope you enjoy and are inspired to create. We're going to jump right in. I'm going to be showing you the stamp set we're using today. It's MFT's Weather With You stamp set, and we're going to be using the dies as well. And I made a jig out of some heavyweight cardstock and the dies. And as you can see, there's a little tray full of all my die cutouts. And then I went ahead and put that jig into my MISTI along with a waffle flower grip mat that's going to help hold that paper in place, and it's also going to allow those stamps to stick. And as you can see, I had to put some post-it tape on there because the stamps were extremely sticky because I have only used them a couple of times and they were pulling up the grip mat because photopolymer to photopolymer sticks. But anyway, I had die cut the all the inserts, all the little pieces for the characters out of some Nina Classic Solar White 80-pound cardstock. And I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black ink because it's Copic friendly. And here I'm showing you all the little cutouts. And did you see my thumbs down? And I literally made raspberry. I went, as I was pulling them out of the thing. Because those lines, they're not centered. So there's another way. This was the first time trying this way. It might work for you. I didn't line those stamps up too well. So if they're lined up right, I'm sure it works perfect. And it's probably quick for mass producing cards. But from now on, I'll just use the jig that I have and then line up the opening and then take some washi tape and tape my die down and run it through my die machine. But I wanted to show there is this option. And I rolled with it. I didn't redo them. I didn't want to waste the paper. And it's going to be okay. You'll see in the card. And the sun's matched up pretty close. It's not perfect. So what I did there was I colored that sun. And as you've seen, I bring some V's in because that's a complementary color for yellows. Purple or violets are. And so it doesn't look that way in the end. But I think it gives a nice deep tone. And notice that the shading is different on a different side on the critters I'm going to color. And reason being is originally I did the sun with the shadowing on the same side, but it's the light source, so it wouldn't be shadowed on the same side. The shadow would be on the opposite side, just like if you had a flashlight shining onto something. Where there's the shadow would be behind the light. So, and it would cast shadows from all the objects would have shadows. They'd be lit, and then the shadows on the opposite side. Hope that makes sense. Because when I started to assemble the card, I saw it and I had to correct it. And I'm just going in, I'm going to color these little guys up. I usually work darkest to lightest. Sometimes I'll map out my shadows with the lightest. I'm not sure what I did there. And you don't have to color with so many different colors like I am. You can actually just do one color. You could do two colors. I mean, the images are small, so it's going to be cute no matter what. And as I always say, I just encourage you to create. And I've shared this before on my channel. Creating for me or my crafting and my hobbies are a form of therapy, and I know that it is for a lot of people out there. So I'm with you. And then when I shade in underneath the glasses, it would be a little bit lighter. So I am going to put some shadowing, but I'm not going to go with my darkests because it would be a little bit lighter from the glass, I suppose. So if you look through a glass, usually the stuff behind it is kind of a little bit muted and lighter. So what have you guys been up to? Have you been crafting? Have you been doing anything enjoyable, or is it all work and no play? And I want to thank everybody who came over and watched my last video. I did a Hobby Lobby clearance haul. And I have gotten so many views on that and a lot of new subscribers. And I want to thank everybody who's been here, who's come here. I'm getting real close to that 1,000. I've mentioned it before. When I hit 1,000, I'm going to be doing a giveaway. I just don't want to totally advertise it in just a video by itself until it happens, because I don't want people to come over just for a giveaway to go. I'd rather stay a smaller channel and connect with you guys than to become a larger channel for people to come to get giveaways. But I'd like to give giveaways to the people that spend time and are part of my crafty journey. And there have been a lot of you. And I've also done hidden giveaways in the past in my videos because I just want to share. And I know we all who craft could use more stuff, right? This little snail, oh my gosh, it was kind of hard to color up being that tiny, but hey, I made it work. So with the images, it is a little more finicky when you cut them out and then color them. So you could decide, like I said, next time I'll be using like the jig to line up and then place the die. And then I'm going to be ink blending a rainbow onto this mini slimline card. And I think it's like 3.5 by 6. There's not like a true size. I think you can go up to whatever the envelope size is for this, whether it's this size or a full size slimline card. I don't think there's any hard true. I could be wrong, but this is the size I like to make it because I like to make it to fit in the envelope in its entirety. And I think it's a 3.5 by 6, if I remember correct. And then I'm just taking some Post-it tape and I'm masking off each area and I'm carrying them all the way to the corner, but you could see I'm not really leaving a spot in that corner that's kind of butting up and becoming so narrow that they're all going to join in that corner without extending and being larger like they are on the opposite side. So, and you'll see me like wipe some of the ink that's resting on the top of that Post-it tape, and I'll dry in between because distress inks stay wet for quite a while. And I just put those Post-it notes there. They didn't have a whole lot of stick because they've been in my stash forever, so I just kind of rested them so that I wouldn't contaminate the rest or accidentally blend over, because I did it. I had to start over because it was red and it wasn't fixable. And I'm bringing this MFT mini cloud edges stencil in. You can use any cloud stencil. You could even tear the edge of a paper and use it as clouds, and it's going to look really realistic. And then I'm masking that the rainbow because I don't want the clouds going through it. But you could do that too because, I mean, rainbows are translucent in real life, but from a distance you typically don't see clouds through them. Well, I guess you kind of do. It just depends on the rainbow. And then I brought in that grassy edge stencil and I'm going to set that there and make like a layered heel. And I'm not going as heavy on that back one because I want it to appear off in the distance, and most of it gets covered up anyway. And then I had to go back in and darken up that bottom one because it didn't connect. That was my bad. And then I'm just using the images here to map out my shadows. And I think that's a YG93, or it could be a 95 or 97, whatever matches your ink. Just find one of your markers that matches your ink, or even use a gray. And so I just keep going back because I wasn't happy with it. And we're going to pop everything up on foam tape. And I'm looking forward to this weekend. I'm looking forward to spending some time with my husband and my family, and it being a 3-day weekend. Woohoo! And the weather's nice. My son went and got in the pool yesterday, and he said that the water was a really good temp, so maybe we'll go to the pool this weekend. Maybe we'll go swimming and get in our pool. And then I'm just using markers that match the ink behind it because, for one, those white borders are not even because I didn't line them up well. And then it kind of disguises them. If they were even, I wouldn't necessarily do this, but I do like the effect because I really don't like the white border that's left by die cuts because it reminds me of stickers, and I put all this effort into it, coloring them up. Okay, This is some speech bubbles from MFT. I love this die. I put all this effort into coloring them up, and I don't want them to look like stickers. I want it to blend in with my card. But I also have done cards where I did favor that white border. So do what works for you. Personally, I probably would have fussy cut these if I could go back and do this over again. As much as because it ended up being more work for me in the end, and it didn't line up. But that's because I'm inexperienced with dies. And when I colored in those hearts, you saw that I went through 3 different markers. It was because I wasn't happy with the first color, nor was I happy with the second color, so I went the third. So you don't have to blend all those colors together, but you could. You could use multiple colors to get the color that you want, too. And then I heat embossed a sentiment from the stamp set on some black cardstock, cut it down, and I'm using my T-square ruler to help line it up so we can make sure it's straight. And then I'm putting some Spectrum Noir. I always use in my cards, and I always use that's glossy accents in that little bottle there. And I'm putting that on the glasses and on the fishbowl. And then I just tapped it on something. Like I used my baby wipe container for my chamois, and wanted to get it to settle and make sure any bubbles rose to the top so I could pop them. And then I add a little bit to their eyes and their nose. And here's the finished card. I added some confetti sequins, and just showing you the glossy accents. I love the effect of it. Thanks for spending some time with me, you guys. If you enjoyed, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!